Welcome and thank you for coming to SSRO's program, Symbols of Liberty, celebrating the 4th of July and commemorating the 200th anniversary of the Star-Spangled Banner. You're welcome to sing along with our patriotic songs. I want to give a special thanks to our greeter, Al, and our cast today is Diana Durham,
Jerry Rowe,
Carol Bird,
Rose Henson,
Marilyn Neely,
Shirley Myers,
Richard Paulus,
Bob Beal.
Did the American colonists thirst for?
Liberty!
Missouri has a town named Liberty, but Iowa has more Liberty places than any other state. Libertyville, New Liberty, North Liberty, and West Liberty.
The 4th of July weekend was approaching, and a nursery school teacher took the opportunity to tell her class about patriotism.
we live in a great country. One of the things we should be happy about is that in this country, we are all free.
I'm not flea, I'm floor.
It's you.
Oh, I skipped the page. We'd like each of you to take out a dollar bill. If you don't have one, please share with your neighbor. After the program, on the back table by Al and Andy, there are magnifiers, and you'll be able to take a closer look at the things we are about to describe.
On the back of the bill, you will see two circles. Together, they comprise the Great Seal of the United States. The First Continental Congress requested that Benjamin Franklin and a group of men come up with a seal. It took them 4 years to accomplish this task and another 2 years to get it approved.
If you look at the left-hand circle, you'll see a pyramid. Notice the face is lighted and the western side is dark. This country was just beginning. We had not begun to explore the West or decided what we could do for Western civilization. The pyramid is uncapped, again signifying that we were not even close to being finished. Inside the capstone, you have the all-seeing eye, an ancient symbol of divinity. It was Franklin's belief that one man couldn't do it alone, but a group of men, with the help of God, could do anything. In God we trust is on this currency.
The Latin above the pyramid, annuit septis, means God has favored us our undertaking. The Latin below the pyramid Novus Ordo Seclorum means a new order has begun. At the base of the pyramid is the Roman numeral for 1776.
Look at the right-hand circle. You will learn that it is on every national cemetery in the United States. It's also on the Parade of Flags walkway at the Bushnell, Florida National Cemetery and is the centerpiece of most heroes' monuments. Slightly modified, it is the seal of the President of the United States, and it is always visible whenever he speaks, yet very few people know what the symbol means.
The bald eagle,
The bald
Sorry.
eagle was selected as a symbol for victory for two reasons. First, he is not afraid of a storm, and he is strong and he is smart, as he will soar above it. Secondly, he wears no material crown. We had just broken from the King of England, and the shield is unsupported. This country can now stand on its own. At the top of the shield is a white bar signifying Congress, a unifying factor. We were coming together as one nation. In the eagle's beak, you will read a pluribus unum, meaning one from many.
above the eagle are 13 stars, representing the 13 original colonies, with clouds of misunderstanding rolling away. We were coming together as one. The eagle holds in his talons an olive branch and arrows. This country wants peace, but we will never be afraid to fight to preserve that peace. The eagle always wants to face the olive branch, but in time of war, his gaze turns toward the arrows.
The number 13 is believed by many to be an unlucky number, and yet there are 13 original colonies, 13 stripes on our flag, 13 steps on the pyramid, 13 letters in Annuit Septus, 13 letters in E Pluribus Unum, 13 stars above the eagle, 13 bars on that shield, 13 leaves and 13 olives on the olive branch. And if you look closely, 13 arrows.
The 13 stars are arranged as the Star of David. This was ordered by George Washington, who, when he asked Haym Salomon, a wealthy Philadelphia Jew, what he would like as a personal reward for his services to the Continental Army, Solomon said he wanted nothing for himself, but he would like something for his people. The Star of David was the result. Haym Salomon saved the army through his financial contributions, but died a pauper.
How did King George feel about the American colonists?
He thought they were revolting.
Father William was visiting a parish school one day when he walked into a 4th grade class where the children were studying the states. And he asked them to name the states. They were able to name 40 of them.
Oh, in my day, children, we could name all of them.
Yes, sir. But in those days, there were only 13 states.
What do you call an American revolutionary who draws cartoons?
A Yankee Doodler.
What happened? Did you hear the one about the Liberty Bell?
Yeah.
The Liberty Bell is 70% copper, 25% tin with other metals included. It weighed 2,080 pounds and measures 7.5 feet around the lip of the bell, 12 feet around the crown of the bell, and is 3 feet tall. The crack is 1/2 inch wide and 24.5 inches long.
This iconic symbol of American independence was commissioned in 1752 and was cast with the lettering part of Leviticus 25:10, proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof.
It arrived in Philadelphia September 1st, 1752, but it was not hung in the steeple of the Pennsylvania State House, now renamed Independence Hall, until March 10th, 1753. When it was rung, the clapper struck the side so hard that it cracked. It was sent back to London and recast by John Pass and John Stowe, whose last names appear on the bell. On its return, the people complained that the sound was unpleasant. So Pass and Stowe took it back and worked on it some more. On June 11th, it was hung again.
It was used to call people's attention to important events and announcements, such as the 1761 announcement of King George III as ruler of Great Britain, the repeal of the Sugar Act of 1764, and the calling of meetings to discuss the Stamp Act of 1765. Other famous tollings announced the calling of the Continental Congress and the beginning of the Revolutionary War.
The most famous ringing occurred on July 8th, 1776, at the first public reading of the Declaration of Independence. The very next year, when the British soldiers occupied Philadelphia, the Liberty Bell was evacuated from the city and hidden under the floorboards of the Zion Reformed Church in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
The bell was brought back to Philadelphia in 1778, but not rehung until 1785, when the steeple was rebuilt, and it tolled in 1787 to announce the ratification of the Constitution. It continued to toll to commemorate special days like the 4th of July and George Washington's birthday, February 22nd. In the 1830s, the bell was adopted as a symbol by abolitionist societies who dubbed it the Liberty Bell. It is generally believed that the bell cracked for good on Washington's birthday, 1846.
Mr. Turkey and Mr. Eagle, adapted from Stories About America by LaVere Anderson. Whenever a turkey and an eagle get together, an argument starts about which bird should have been chosen as the national emblem of the United States. Both the lordly bald eagle and the stately wild turkey had been considered for the honor. When they meet, the argument continues.
I should have been the American national emblem. They made a great mistake in picking an ugly fellow like you. Go.
I guess Congress knew what they wanted, and they wanted me.
Oh, Benjamin Franklin didn't want you, and he was a very important man in American history. He wanted me. He said you were a bird of bad moral character, and it's true. You're always stealing fish from Mrs. Osprey. What, time and again I've seen you swoop down and take away a fish she herself had caught.
I guess you never heard how the ancient Romans admired eagles. They used us on many of their decorations. For thousands of years I've been admired. Well, you've just an unknown bird pecking around in the forest.
That's another thing. You're not an American.
What do you mean I'm not an American?
If you're an American, what are you doing with the Romans? Benjamin Franklin himself said, I'm a true, original Native American. I'm sure I've never even seen Rome. Why didn't you stay there?
It's plain why Congress didn't choose you. You don't know your history. I didn't say I was in Rome. It was another branch of my family. I'm a bald eagle, and bald eagles live only in the United States.
Oh, tut, tut now. First it was you, then it wasn't. Make up your mind.
I am also king of the air. I am a symbol of power and freedom. Why, the Indians even used me on their totem poles.
I never saw you on a totem pole.
And I never heard of you till the Pilgrims found you pecking around in the forest and thought you might be good to eat, since they didn't have much of anything else anyway.
Oh, it's not true. The Pilgrims had boiled lobster and clam stew and roast goose and cornbread and hasty pudding, but they liked me.
You sound as if you want to be eaten.
Oh, I'd rather be eaten and enjoyed than hunted as you used to be just for your feathers. Then the Indians threw away your tough carcass.
It was an honor to wear my feathers. An Indian added one eagle feather to his headdress for each new brave deed he had done. Nobody had to be brave to eat you, just hungry. They put my picture on the money.
Oh, but it is my picture. They put in the newspaper every Thanksgiving.
I've seen it. Underneath the picture it says how much you are a pound.
Oh, I am the symbol of Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is a very important national holiday, first proclaimed by Abraham Lincoln.
A symbol on a platter trimmed with parsley. It's an honor I'd rather not have. But remember, when they're serving you for dinner, that I am protected by law. No one is allowed to bother my nest, my eggs, my children, anywhere in the United States at any time.
Benjamin Franklin said that I am a civilized bird. You are a wild, cruel fellow.
And you have fat drumsticks.
Oh, I don't care if I do have fat drumsticks. It's an honor to be the symbol of Thanksgiving, and I really am a handsome and civilized bird.
I don't care if I am wild and free. I like to be free to do as I please. And I'm proud to be the national emblem, no matter what Benjamin Franklin said.
The argument wasn't settled. It never will be. The next time they meet, it will start all over again. And what they say is true, of course. Eagles are wild, fierce birds, and turkeys have fat drumsticks. Yes, indeed. Turkeys have nice, big, juicy, fat drumsticks. So what I say is, yum, yum.
Francis Scott Key was a lawyer in Georgetown, just a few miles from Washington, D.C. He and his wife Mary had 11 children. In addition to being a lawyer, he liked to write poetry as a hobby. Today we would like to share some of his experiences from the War of 1812.
During the war, a particularly nasty conflict with the British, Major Armistead, the commander of Fort McHenry, asked Mary Pickersgill to make a flag so big that the British would have no trouble seeing it from a distance. She used 400 yards of fine wool. They cut 15 stars that were 2 feet across. There were 8 red and 7 white stripes. The stripes were each 2 feet wide. When it was finished, it measured 30 by 42 feet.
Following the burning of Washington and the raid on Alexandria, the British were set on taking the port of Baltimore, which was protected in part by Fort McHenry. After the initial land attack by the British had stopped, 16 ships of the British fleet positioned themselves for a massive attack on the fort.
Before the ships came within cannon range, Colonel John Skinner and Francis Scott Key went out to one of the British ships to negotiate the release of Dr. Beans. who had not only helped Americans, but had been instrumental in saving the lives of several British who were wounded. Finally, the British agreed to his release, but since all three of them had learned too much about the forthcoming attack, they were moved to the small frigate Surprise and were detained by the British until it was over.
The attack on Fort McHenry started on September 12th of 1814 and continued for the next 23 hours. Skinner, Beans, and Key watched most of the bombardment from the deck of the ship. And all through the night of the 12th and the next day, they caught glimpses of the star-shaped fort with that beautiful, huge flag through the bursts of light from the gunfire.
In the dark of the second night, the shelling suddenly stopped. Through the darkness and the dead of the night, they couldn't tell whether the British forces had been defeated or if the fort had fallen. As the sun came across the ocean through the smoke and mist, Francis Scott Key stared in the direction of the fort. And there it was, that beautiful flag.
When he saw the flag, Francis Scott Key had to capture that wonderful moment. So he grabbed his pen, and the only thing he had to write on was a letter in his pocket. He scribbled on the back of the envelope the first lines of a poem that he called Defense of Fort McHenry.
On the way back to his hotel room, he completed all 4 verses of the poem, and the next morning took it to his brother-in-law, Judge Joseph Nicholson, a local judge, and one of the militia who fought at Fort McHenry. He thought it so good that he arranged to have it printed as a handbill.
The poem he wrote was put to music, an old British drinking song, Anacreon in Heaven. 1 month later, it was sung at the Baltimore Theater by Mr. Harding, one of the performers, in commemoration of the gallant defense of Fort McHenry and for the men that fought in the battle. As they did back in 1814, would those able please stand and recite with us the first stanza in honor of those who have died and fought for us and the many freedoms we enjoy.
Please be seated as we continue. On the shore, dimly seen through the mists of the deep, where the foe's haughty host in dread silence reposes, what is that which the breeze o'er the towering steep, as it fitfully blows, half conceals, half discloses? Now it catches the gleam of the morning's first beam, in full glory reflected, now shines on the stream. 'Tis the Star-Spangled Banner. Oh, long may it wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And where is that band who so vauntingly swore that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, a home and a country, should leave us no more? Their blood has wiped out their foul footsteps' pollution. No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph doth wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Oh, thus be it ever, when free men shall stand between their loved homes and the war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must when our cause it is just, and this be our motto, in God is our trust. And the star-spangled banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The song is notoriously difficult for non-professionals to sing because of its wide vocal range. Humorist Richard Armour referred to the song's difficulty in his book, It All Started with Columbus.
Quote, in an attempt to take Baltimore, the British attacked Fort McHenry, which protected the harbor. Bombs were soon bursting in air, rockets were glaring, and all in all, it was a moment of great historical interest. During the bombardment, a young lawyer named Francis Off-Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner. And when, by the dawn's early light, the British heard it sung, they fled in terror.
In indignation over the start of the American Civil War, Oliver Wendell Holmes added a fifth stanza to the song in 1861, which appeared in songbooks of that era.
When our land is illumined with liberty's smile, if a foe from within strikes a blow at her glory, down, down with the traitor that tries to defile the flag of the stars and the page of her story. By the millions unchained who their birthright have gained, we will keep her bright blazon forever unstained, and the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph shall wave, while the land of the free is the home of the brave.
In 1916, President Woodrow Wilson ordered that it should become the national anthem played by the military and naval services. The playing of the song 2 years later during the seventh inning stretch of the 1918 World Series, and thereafter during each game of the series, is often noted as the first instance that the anthem was played at a baseball game. Though evidence shows that the Star-Spangled Banner was performed as early as 1897 at opening day ceremonies in Philadelphia, and then more regularly at the Polo Grounds in New York City, beginning in 1898.
Johnny, what are the last words of the Star-Spangled Banner?
Play ball!
One young boy from Mexico at his first professional game was most impressed by the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner. He rushed home and told his family,
Before the game started, everyone stood up and sang, Jose, can you see?
It wasn't until March 3rd, 1931, that it was officially designated as the national anthem by act of Congress signed on March 3rd, 1931 by President Herbert Hoover.
Hurrah for the flag of the free, may it wave as our standard forever, the gem of the land and the sea, the banner of the bride. Let despots remember the day when our fathers with mighty endeavor proclaimed as they marched to the fray that by their might and by their right it waits forever.
Uncle Sam is a common national personification of the American government that, according to legend, came into use during the War of 1812 and was supposedly named for Samuel Wilson. The first use of Uncle Sam in literature was an 1816 allegorical book, The Adventures of Uncle Sam in Search After His Lost Honor, by Frederick Augustus Fittipaldi, Esquire.
And Uncle Sam is mentioned as early as 1775 in the original Yankee Doodle lyrics of the Revolutionary War. It is not clear whether this reference is to Uncle Sam as a metaphor for the United States or to an actual person named Sam. The lyrics as a whole clearly deride the military efforts of the young nation besieging the British at Boston. The 13th stanza is,
Uncle Sam came here to change the pancakes and some onions, molasses cakes to carry home to give his wife and young ones. Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle dandy. Mind the music and a step, and with the girls be handy.
The term Uncle Sam is reputedly derived from Samuel Wilson, a meat packer from Troy, New York, who supplied barrels of beef to the United States Army during the War of 1812. Wilson stamped the barrels with U.S. for United States, but soldiers began referring to the grub as Uncle Sam's. The local newspaper picked up on the story, and Uncle Sam eventually gained widespread acceptance as the nickname of the U.S. federal government.
In the late 1860s and 1870s, political cartoonist Thomas Nast began popularizing the image of Uncle Sam. He continued to evolve the image, eventually giving Sam the white beard and stars and stripes suit that are associated with the character today. The German-born Nast was also credited with creating the modern image of Santa Claus, as well as coming up with the donkey as a symbol of the Democratic Party and the elephant as a symbol for the Republican Party.
Perhaps the most famous image of Uncle Sam was created by artist James Montgomery Flagg. In his version, Uncle Sam is an elderly man with white hair and a goatee, wearing a top hat with white stars on a blue band, a blue tailcoat, and red and white striped trousers. This image, which became immensely popular, was first used on the cover of Leslie's Weekly in July 1916 with the title, "What Are You Doing for Preparedness?" During World War I, this portrait of Sam with the words, "I want you for the U.S. Army," was used as a recruiting poster.
In September 1961, U.S. Congress recognized Samuel Wilson as the progenitor of America's national symbol of Uncle Sam. Wilson died at the age of 88 in 1854 and was buried in Troy, New York, the town that calls itself the town of Uncle Sam.
Old Uncle Sam by Richard Robideau. You all know me. I'm Uncle Sam. So gosh darn proud. Oh, yes, I am for this country all the way. But you knew that. I'll never sway. I've been around for quite a while. Forget my age. I'm still in style, like Yankee Doodle. Yes, sirree. Like Troy, New York's great history. I'm so proud Yankee Doodle's kin, and proud what Troy for me has been. 'Twas 1812 when all began. Too bad there was no cameraman. Our country fought its second war. We would prevail just like before. You know, Uncle Sam knows all too well. The facts are clear. War can be hell. Stay close to your old Uncle Sam. I'm here for you. That's what I am. We are the great land of the free. Thanks to those marching faithfully. Salute and thank the brave you see. Do not forget they're tops with me. America, stand up and cheer. Our forces keep our freedom clear. One nation under God we stay. This truth endures to greet each day. My time now draws to bid farewell. 'Twas grand to have you for a spell. Goodbye to you, each worthy friend. God bless you. All my love I send.
Statue of Liberty by Patty Mott. I'm here to speak for a true symbol of America, the Statue of Liberty. Now, I know what you're thinking. She's French. So what? She may have been designed and built in France, but Miss Liberty is a naturalized American, if there ever was one. She stood out there in the harbor from the day she was dedicated, representing our freedom and welcoming all who have come here to find a better life in a free country. And didn't we Americans help inspire the French Revolution? You bet your stars and stripes we did. So I say, vive la France, Miss Liberty, and more power to you.
Think about it. She stands out there day and night, in all seasons and all kinds of weather. But does she complain? And how'd you like to have to hold that pose, holding that light up all the time? I've heard of carrying the torch, but this job of hers is ridiculous. Her shoulder and arm must be as hard as steel by now.
And how about that crown she has to wear? Does that strike you as odd? Seeing as how we don't have the royalty system here, and all those points sticking out for the seagulls to perch or poop on. What a deal. And the gown she's wearing isn't the height of French fashion either. Looks like she's wearing a nightgown. I know the French are big on that boudoir stuff, but this maid is standing out there for everyone to see.
Well, whatever she wears and however old she gets, she's one tough broad and a very special dame. Ask any immigrant who stood on the deck waiting breathlessly for the first glimpse of her and whose eyes are dimmed with tears when she came into view. Torch of Liberty held high. Remember what Emma Lazarus wrote in her poem, The New Colossus?
Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. Keep ancient lands your storied pomp, cries she. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse on your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.
That tribute says it all. I salute you, Miss Liberty. Keep your torch of freedom shining brightly on us all.
The Statue of Liberty by Paul Perrault. The Statue of Liberty is 150 feet tall. She stands in New York Harbor and she gives out hope to all. She is the goddess Libertas. She wears a long and flowing gown. Her right hand holds a torch up high and on her head a crown. The statue was given to us by all the good people of France to mark 100 years since we declared our independence. She's over 100 years old. She's really a golden oldie, made from copper and steel by a sculptor named Bartholdi. Bartholdi has drawn up his plans, copper sheets on a frame of steel. The newspapers ran a campaign to make his dreams turn real. Building the huge skeletal frame turned out to be no mere trifle. They needed help from the engineer, Alexander Eiffel. 350 pieces were packed in hundreds of crates. The statue was shipped all the way to the United States. She was built on Liberty Island, and she stands there still to this day. She represents friendship, freedom, and the American way.
It was little Aunt Andy's first day of school.
We will start our day by facing the flag and putting your right hand over your heart. Now repeat after me. I pledge allegiance.
I
Pledge allegiance.
Andy, I cannot continue till you put your hand over your heart.
It is over my heart.
Why do you think that is your heart, Andy?
Because every time my grandma comes to visit, she pats me there and says, "Bless your little heart." And my grandma never lies.
Our Flag Flies High by Joanna Fuchs. The U.S. flag is a symbol of what Americans treasure. It represents the values we cherish beyond measure. Our flag flies high for freedom, for legal equality, for constitutional rights and justice for you and me. Our flag flies high for bravery, the courage it takes to fight, and even give our lives for what we know is right. Our flag flies high for compassion. We quickly help those in need. When there's a need for service, Americans take the lead. The American flag is an icon representing the American way. Our hearts swell with emotion when we see it ripple and sway.
What did one flag say to the other flag?
Nothing. It just waved.
Our last poem was originally titled "My Name is Old Glory." by Howard Schnauber.
The flag
of the United States of America.
I am the flag of the United States of America.
My name is Old Glory.
I fly atop the world's tallest buildings.
I stand watch in America's halls of justice.
I fly majestically over institutions of learning.
I stand guard with power in the world.
Look up and see me.
I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice.
I stand for freedom.
I am confident.
I am steadfast.
I am proud.
When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher, my colors a little truer.
I bow to no one.
I am recognized all over the world.
I am saluted.
I am loved.
I am revered.
I am respected.
I am invincible.
And I am feared.
I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years.
I was flown at Valley Forge, Gettysburg, Shiloh, and Appomattox.
I was there at San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, in the Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, and the beaches of Normandy.
Guam, Okinawa, Anzio, Rome, Korea, and Quezon, Saigon, Vietnam, know me.
I am presently in the mountains of Afghanistan and the hot and dusty deserts of Iraq, and wherever freedom is needed.
I led my troops. I was dirty, battle-worn, and tired.
But my soldiers cheered me, and I was proud.
I have been burned, torn and trampled on the streets of countries I have helped set free.
It does not hurt, for I am invincible.
I have been soiled upon, burned, torn, and trampled in the streets of my country.
And when it's done by those who I've served in battle, it hurts.
But I shall overcome. I am strong.
I have slipped the bonds of earth and stood watch over the uncharted frontiers of space from my vantage point on the moon.
I have borne silent witness to all of America's finest hours.
But my finest hours are yet to come.
When I am torn into strips and used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the battlefield.
When I am flown at half-mast to honor my soldier.
Or when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving parent at the grave of their fallen son or daughter.
I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I reign.